Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. This podcast is dedicated to EAS employees of the U.S. Postal Service and members of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us for today's episode. And now, here's your host, Robert Wakefield.
Good morning, Branch 32, and good morning to our NAPS family all across the country. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast, the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast, presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. I am your host, Robert Wakefield. That's right. Please be seated. Thank you. Got a great show lined up for you. So let's go ahead and let's pour that first cup. To the people who keep our mail moving, rain, shine, and everything in between, we see you. And at the Nashville Post Office Credit Union, we're proud to serve you. Since 1925, we've been the financial home for postal employees and their families, offering fair rates, personal service, and a team that understands the work you do. Because you deliver for everyone, and we're here to deliver for you. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for the first cup today, if you've ever sat with me during an appeal, you already know the question I always ask the manager. And it's this: how much coaching and mentoring, how much early dialogue and reinforcement did you give this employee before you issued the discipline? And 9 times out of 10, I get the same look that you get when you ask a carrier where they put the scanner, and they said, "Oh, I had it a minute ago." That look tells me everything. And that's exactly why I spent so much time walking through ELM 651.3. I wanted to go through it piece by piece, story by story, and tool by tool, because here's the deal. This responsibility, this non-disciplinary corrective process does not go away. It does not pause. It does not expire. It does not get skipped because the mail was heavy or the supervisor was stressed. 651.3 is the foundation of all discipline. Where it all starts. It's like the second or third thing listed in ELM 650. So it is the foundation, and today we're going to wrap up this whole series and bring it all together and put a bow on top of it. Okay, I don't know about the bow, but we're gonna end it. So here's why we took the journey. But before we recap, let me just go through it thoroughly, what we covered. Okay, and let me tell you why we covered this. The first, I did this because I use 651.3 in every single appeal that I write for Branch 32 members. I write it in every single one. I want managers to remember that their responsibility to coach and to mentor is ongoing. And I want EAS employees to know that they have a right to this development and not just to discipline. And in my biggest dreams, I want the culture to shift from punishment to partnership. This just wasn't a podcast series I wanted to do. I wanted to do a whole leadership reset. So here's what we talked about. Here's what we learned, the full recap here. We started at the heart of ELM 651, that performance issues are not misconduct. And most problems can be solved through conversation. And they can be solved through clarity. And they can be solved through support, something that really we need more of. Then we talked about why these tools exist. We talked about how discipline, it used to be the first tool out of the toolbox, but 651.3 was created to try to break that cycle. And then in the other episodes, we laid out all the tools it was. We talked about coaching. We talked about mentoring. We talked about day-to-day activities. We talked about dialogue. We talked about resources. We talked about reinforcement. We talked about all these things. And all these that were designed to improve performance without punishment. No, I know we use the words corrective action. Okay, that's very colorful. But let's get real. Many times it's punishment, and we all know it. The coaching episode is what we talked about. It was early. It's supportive. It's curious. It's specific. It's not fix this. It's let's work on this together. And then mentoring is the long-term investment. It's about correcting today for building a better tomorrow. We talked about shared responsibility and reinforcement, and we talked about how supervisors and employees, they share the load, and how reinforcement can help build this trust and build this confidence and ultimately build consistency. And then last week, we talked about the supervisor's mindset, and we ended with the truth that says this: 651.3 only works when the leader works. So here's a story that can kind of bring it all together. Let me take you back to a case I handled not too long ago. A supervisor was issued discipline for his office missing repeated scanning errors. And when I asked the IMPU, how much coaching did you provide before this? Well, the IMPU said this. Are you ready? Well, I told him to stop messing up. Yeah, you can laugh at that if you want. I told him to stop messing up. That's not coaching. That's not mentoring. That's not early dialogue. It's not reinforcement. It's frustration. And it's disguised as leadership. And this discipline just didn't hold because it doesn't change anything. The only reason we issue discipline, and I preach this to Branch 32, and I hope to preach this to everyone listening to my voice today, the only reason you issue discipline is to change behavior. That's it. If you've got a person coming in late, 5 minutes late every single day, and you've told them, and you've coached them, and you've mentored them, and you've told them all these things, then discipline needs to be issued because you want to change the behavior. Well, it's a responsibility that never expires, and here's the message I want every supervisor and IMPU and postmaster, I want everyone to hear this. Your responsibility to coach, to mentor, to guide, to support your employees never expires. It doesn't expire after 30 days or 90 days or even after peak season. It doesn't expire when you get frustrated, and it doesn't expire because you told them once. Told them once. That just absolutely cracks me up. But 651.3 is not a checkbox. It's a culture. It's a commitment. It's leadership. And when you skip it, you're not just skipping a step. You're skipping the very thing that could have prevented the problem in the first place. So it was a very important whole series. That's the reason why I did it. For Branch 32 members, I wanted this not to only be educational, I wanted it to be empowering. And if you're listening across the country, I want that to be empowering for you as well, because now you know that you deserve coaching before criticism. You deserve mentoring before discipline. You deserve clarity before consequences. You deserve reinforcement before you're reprimanded. You deserve leadership before a letter of warning. I tell you, when those things happen, That's where NAPS comes in. That's where we'll stand with you, and we'll ask the question, where's the 651.3? So here's, as I'm going to close this series, I want this takeaway to be given. 651.3 is not a policy you reference only once when things go wrong. It's a leadership philosophy that you practice every day. It's how you build trust. It's how you build performance. It's how you build people. And it's how we build a healthier postal service. One conversation at a time, one moment at a time, one mindset shift at a time. I really do appreciate you walking through this series with me. It hasn't been the most exciting thing in the world, but hey, it's important. And I really want to stress how important it is if you are an upper manager. Well, what am I saying? Every manager needs to hear this. Whether it's upper management, headquarters level people, district people, region, area people, everyone needs to adhere to ELM 651.3 because it builds a better postal service. It builds people up instead of always tearing them down. I'm amazed. I'm just absolutely amazed at what I hear from the field that's going on. How you're being beaten up every single day. Well, listen, you don't have to do that. Whenever you get disciplined or anything, be sure your NAPS rep knows about ELM 651.3 and use that to our advantage. When leaders show up differently, the workplace changes. And when the workplace changes, everything becomes possible. All right. Hope you enjoyed that series. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but we'll come up with something. It's now time for us to pour that second cup. Banking shouldn't be complicated. At the Nashville Post Office Credit Union, it isn't. With easy online loan applications, mobile deposit, shared branching, and a team that actually picks up the phone, you get real service from real people. No runaround, no surprises. Just a credit union built on trust since 1925. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for our second cup today, I wanted to take a moment here on this Memorial Day edition of the Saturday Cup of Joe, and I want to invite you into a quieter moment. Because today isn't just a long weekend, or it isn't the unofficial start of summer, and it's not just cookouts and baseball games and time off. Today is set aside for something sacred. Of course, I'm talking about Monday. But we want to remember the men and women who gave their lives in service to this country. These are real people. These are real families. This is real sacrifice. You know, in the Postal Service, we move fast. Mail doesn't stop, life doesn't stop, and deadlines don't stop. But Memorial Day asks us to do something rare, to stop on purpose, to pause long enough to remember that the freedoms we enjoy, the ones we sometimes take for granted, were paid for people who never made it home. So this Memorial Day, I want you to just remember, it was not to make us sad. It's meant to make us grateful. Grateful to live with purpose. Grateful enough to treat each other with dignity and respect. And grateful enough to use our freedoms well. So this weekend, I'm encouraging you to take a moment, step outside, look at that flag and let the breeze hit you in your face. And as you do that, whisper a simple prayer of thanks for those who never came home. Hope you have a meaningful Memorial Day, my friends. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And we'll see you here next time on the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast, presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union.
Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Robert Wakefield and do not necessarily reflect the views of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. We welcome your questions and comments, so send those to SaturdayCupofJoe@gmail.com.